Before we start this video, let's take a moment to like really appreciate this right here. This tribute to Chadwick Aaron Boseman. I felt like he would have been a part of this project, and they wanted to find some way to still put him in a movie, that's great. Let's talk about The Harder They Fall, especially the ending and the message that Jeymes Samuel, the director of this movie, tried to, in his words, shine a light on. If you haven't saw the movie at all yet, I recommend checking it out before I spoil it for you. It's a Western with a spin on it. So we got all black leads in this movie, and they bring like a certain swagger to the movie. So it's not like your typical Western movie. Visually, the movie looks amazing. There's different shots that you're gonna wanna go back and watch. Like, I watched this movie twice to do this video, and I noticed a lot of stuff I didn't pick up the first time. So it's a lot of stuff you can see visually. The actors and the actress did a great job. Jonathan Mayers, I was introduced to him in the Loki series. He popped up at the end, and to me, he was such a great actor. He made the whole series, even though he was like in the last 1 or 2 episodes.
He who remains.
He who remains. She still calling me that? Creepy. Right. I like it.
Let's talk about how we got to the ending showdown that we saw. There's different gangs in this movie. So there's the Rufus Buck gang and the Nat Love gang, and also the Red Hooded gang, I believe. You don't see that much of them. We just see them in the beginning of the movie and then towards the end. Nat Love, his kind of nickname in the movie is like the Grim Reaper. He kind of has this name because it seems like for years he's been hunting down this gang that was responsible for gunning down his family, except for Rufus Buck. The reason why is because he was currently serving life in prison, or he thought he was serving life in prison.
Rufus inhuman for the rest of his natural life. For a man like him, that's worse than death.
So the news gets to Nat Love that Rufus Buck is now out via the Red Hooded gang, and now his gang is back together, and they're going straight after Rufus Buck to help Nat finish the job. The first time I watched the ending, to me it was a good twist. That's the only thing I saw. It was like a good twist. And then when I did some more digging around and reading up on the director and his vision for the movie, that's when I kind of got the bigger picture of it. So on the surface, it just seems like, you know, the twist is they're half brothers and he had to kill his brother. I want to read a quote that Jeymes Samuel, the director, said himself. He said, "I wanted to tell a story where the antagonist and the protagonist are essentially the same person doing the exact same thing. It's a never-ending loop of violence that we are succumbed to, and I wanted to not preach but shine a light on what happens all too often in our community." So by our community, he means like the black and brown community. Nat Love and Rufus Buck kind of represents me and you. Like, if you on the other side of this camera is like a black person, you could be Rufus Buck or Nat Love, and I can be Nat Love or Rufus Buck. It does seem like Nat Love is set up to be the hero, but he did the same thing Rufus Buck did. He did the same killings, the same robberies. That's why we saw Rufus Buck try to push Nat to rob a bank. So now you're just like me, or even worse. What both of them have in common is they both came from a bad decision. Rufus Buck is the product of his father. His father had a violent past, and he created Rufus Buck. The Rufus Buck we see on the screen here. Nat Love is a product of Rufus Buck. So Rufus Buck created the Nat Love that we also see on the screen. Just like in our real life, in the black and brown community, this creates a non-ending cycle of violence. It just keeps going and going and going until somebody just makes the decision to say, okay, you know what? Maybe we don't have to choose violence. If they do a sequel, we already know what's gonna happen. Trudy is gonna come after the Nat Love gang because of what he did to Rufus. Say, if you go even deeper, say if Trudy was pregnant and she raised a baby, and that baby repeats the exact same thing Nat Love went through, like going through this long 10-year or 15-year, 20-year manhunt to hunt down the Nat Love gang the same way Nat Love hunted down the Rufus Buck gang. It just all repeats until somebody pulls the plug. The way he could have pulled the plug, you can see he really didn't want to kill Rufus Buck, but he felt like he had to because he did kill his, I guess he could have let it go with his father, but he said it himself, but you had to kill my mother too, like she wasn't really a part of it. That's why I say it does take a little faith. It does take a little faith. If Nat Love made a different choice, like the way the movie ended was perfect because it makes you think about what could have happened, and it starts these conversations. But say, just for the sake of this discussion, say if Nat Love just chose to go right besides the left. So he chose to just let Rufus Buck live and have a discussion with him, let him know, I'm showing you mercy, we don't have to do this. I see you care about this town. The white folks next door, they're living peaceful. They have everything's clean. You see their town is actually white. But in the meantime, we have 3 black gangs that's killing each other. Rufus Buck made it clear that he didn't want to kill his brother. He even said it himself, like, you're gonna surpass me because the one thing I couldn't do is kill my brother. So there was some heart in him, but no one really took the time to try to dig it out. He had a violent past, and that just continues throughout his life, but no one really just took time to just get to him, get to his heart, and get to like the real problem and come up with a real solution. Again, just for the sake of this discussion, if he chose to do that, I feel like that would have been like the ultimate peace. They kept calling Redwood this paradise, but it clearly wasn't a paradise. The hidden message that I think that's in this movie is that we should help our brothers and sisters out more. We shouldn't be so quick to judge them because we already have it bad. Whatever we do in life, we gotta do it 2-5 times harder just because we're black and brown. So if you take that and then add the weight of your own people against you, it's a lot to take in. So it can be something small. Yes, sometimes it does take a little faith. Sometimes you have to be the bigger person. Sometimes we feel like we don't have a choice. Like it's not that easy just to put faith in a stranger just because, you know, they're black and brown like me. Another thing this movie pointed out, and they kind of expressed it in the character Cherokee, Cherokee Bill? But even though he did shady stuff, you know, to win fights, he did express in the movie a lot that you do have a choice.
You had a choice. You always got a choice.
Black on black crimes really shouldn't be a thing. I know things happen and, you know, some stuff is not in our control, but it's a lot of stuff in our control. At this point, deadbeat dads shouldn't be a thing because a lot of us, especially a lot of us born in the 90s, our fathers weren't there. So we shouldn't continue the cycle of being a deadbeat dad and stuff like that. Turning our back on a brother or sister shouldn't be a thing as well. In the workplace, out in public or whatever. Yeah, it may be hard if it's like a manager or something like that that you feel like isn't treating you well, but it does take a leap of faith. Like even after watching this movie, I did something that I wouldn't normally do. Like there's a black manager in my workplace that I have an issue with. I feel like she has like a certain attitude against me. And I just expressed that to her. She could just deflect it and just go back to give me attitude, but I'm choosing to go right and not left like Nat Love did. So I went right and just sent her a personal message. And maybe me taking a leap of faith with her actually stops the cycle. So maybe she won't do this to the next fellow black or brown person that works for her, or someone else in her life, or another stranger or something like that. So my point is, if someone just choose to go right besides left sometimes, it can echo through time. It may seem like something small to you, but in the future, it may affect the individual, it may affect a group, it may affect a generation. So yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I love this message. This is something that I'm gonna keep with me. All right, that's all I got for y'all, man. And leave me your thoughts down below in the comments if you watched up to this point, because I really wanna continue this conversation. All right, that's all I got.